Can I say that having email on my phone actually ruined my life? And I've just finally, for the first time, and since I got an iPhone, like been able to live my own life for a little while. Gee whiz.
All right, so we're going to have a discussion today about the difference between useful and effective. Okay, because I think some of y'all out there need to listen to this because we don't know the difference between things that are useful and things that are actually effective. Okay, so like useful things are things that would be nice to have. Oh, that's useful. Like every time you see a commercial, you know, you're like, oh, that'd be useful. Wow, I could really use that. And then you forget about it, you move on because those things, they aren't so essential to your life. They aren't actually effective in making your life better most of the time. That's why they have to have somebody who needs to sell them to you to convince you that they're actually useful and move the needle. Here's the deal. So I was at brunch. I'm not typically at brunch, okay? Just to be very clear, but I was at brunch yesterday. I was at brunch yesterday and I went to this restaurant that's in a neighborhood. You ever been to a restaurant that's in a neighborhood? Let me tell you about this restaurant that was in a neighborhood. There was like no parking. Okay. So when you're at a restaurant in a neighborhood, where do you park? In the neighborhood. Okay. So I did that. Pretty busy place because it was brunch and it was nice outside. It's just what happens. I was parking my car in this neighborhood and I parked on a street where, mind you, a lot of other cars were parked, literally right across the street from the restaurant. Now, I happened to be parked in front of, get this, a house. Why? Because there are houses in this neighborhood. Yes, I know. So I parked my car legally, went to brunch. I came back to my car and there was a note. There was a note on my car and like the three other cars around me. And here's what the note said. I should have kept it. I don't actually have it, but whatever. I should have kept it. The note basically said, "Hey there, please don't park here. We really need this space for parking because we have three people who live in this house. Thank you." And it was written in purple marker because I guess that would make it. Uh, I don't know why it was written in purple marker. I don't think I would have written a note like that in purple marker, but they did. So, yeah, the note said, "Sorry, please don't park in front of my house because I need it, not you. Thanks. Bye." Okay. You can think of that however you might. Here's what I think about that. I parked in a very obvious location for the thing that I was doing, which was going to a commercial establishment in this neighborhood. Now, whether I should have been allowed to park there legally or not is a completely different question. But the fact is, I was. It's public parking, it's a street. You can park there. And this person wrote myself and the two other cars around me, maybe more, I don't know, I didn't check. These they like tried to come off like they were kind, like altruistic, like, "Please don't do this. I need this spot." Like these pretty stupid notes. uh, to what end? Okay. Here's the deal. This is a busy town. There's a lot of people who go to these restaurants. I would venture to say that this is the type of restaurant where like tourists would go, even. Okay. People who aren't from here. They might be parking their cars there, rental car if they have it. Or it's a special occasion type place. You're not going very often. Okay. Do you think that leaving this note on my car, where mind you, I'm probably not going to park there for, but maybe once a year, like this is the type of place I was at. Um, does like, was that effective? Like, uh, I have so many questions. Put up a sign that says, "Please don't park here." You can't do that, but that would be way more effective, honestly, than deterring me from parking. You know what I did? I threw the note out the window. I said, "Okay, I have to go." Somebody else, literally, as I was pulling out, literally took my spot because the street was jam packed. There's nowhere else to park. I literally pulled out of this spot in front of this person's house, and somebody took my spot less than 5 seconds later. Why did they write me a note? Like that was the least effective strategy you possibly could have done. There were so many more effective strategies to mitigating the problem they had, not the least of which was simply parking their car in the spots that they needed, because clearly they didn't need them that bad. Clearly they didn't because their cars weren't there. Oh my goodness. People are so dumb. But they thought it was a good idea to write a note in purple marker to tell me not to park there ever again. I'm never going to park there again. Not because I won't need, like, not because I don't want to, but I literally won't need to park there. I'm not going back. Not because of you, but just because I'm not going back to this place. I don't like brunch. There. Solved your problem. But like, that's just the least effective strategy possible. And I feel like so many people live their lives this way. They just do random stuff that they think is useful, and it's completely ineffective. And there are so many things we just accept that, like, we have to do. We must do this one thing just because that's the way the world is, without giving it any sort of critical thought. Let me tell you an example. I, this week, just got my screen time notification because it's Sunday. I got my screen time notification and it was down 20%. 20% from last week. You know how, like, it tells you how many hours and it says you're changed so many hours. I'm not going to tell you how much time I spent on my phone, by the way. But it was less than last week. And you want to know why? You want to know why? Because I deleted my email app. I can't use my email on my iPhone anymore. Wow. Okay, 20% of my time was spent checking my email. Was that useful? Like, is it useful for me to be able to get my email? I had tried this in the past. I turned off notifications. I don't have email notifications. It's a miserable way to live. I never have had them, at least for a few years. But that didn't solve the problem because that wasn't hard enough for me. Like, that system didn't work. I just, instead of checking email notifications, all that did was it made me check my email more often because I was like, oh, better check if I have any new emails, as opposed to just having a notification and then seeing that I had an email or not. Okay. No, I've had no notifications for a long time. It actually made me check my email more. So you know what I did? I deleted my email. And now I'm on my phone 20% less. That was an effective strategy, deleting email. You know what was not effective or not useful in my life? Checking email all the time. Do you know how much better or worse I am at email today than I used to be? Which, mind you, my job at this point, I'm not going to say I'm a professional email writer, but I have to deal with it. Now, there's this inherent lie that you're hearing me say, which is I have to deal with it. I really don't. I think that I do. It needs to get dealt with. I think that's the truth. That's the truth of my job today. People send me a lot of emails and those emails have to get dealt with. But do I have to deal with it? No. Do I have to check it on my phone every 5 seconds? No. Is me knowing that I got this email about this one thing that I don't have to deal with right now like an effective way for me to live my life? I can't tell you how many times I would check my email before or after hours that you're supposed to check your email, whatever those are. And then I would sit there and just think about that email and stew on it and fester on it while I was trying to do something else, mind you. It kind of ruined my life. Can I say that having email on my phone actually ruined my life? And I've just finally, for the first time since I got an iPhone, like, been able to live my own life for a little while. Gee whiz. It's crazy. Useful, effective. Having email on my phone was completely useless. Like, even if it gave me the ability to write an email more quickly than I otherwise would have, or respond to something, or have a piece of information in a timelier fashion, even if that's the case, I don't think that that's net positive, right? Because if I'm reading email on my phone, inherently that means I'm in a position, like, I'm not in a position to be thinking about what I'm looking at or engaged with it. And even if I'm responding faster than I otherwise would have, like, I'm not actually spending the time and energy to write an effective response. And maybe I'm opening myself up to who knows what sort of other risks that might bring on. I probably write a shittier email because it's on my phone than I otherwise would have, which, like, is a whole other can of worms. So not only is it not useful, it's like way less effective than the other system, which is, oh, I'm going to time block and look at my emails only during certain windows of the day or the week, or if you're really good, the month or the year. One day I'll get there. So I can actually write constructive responses. We're all, like, living in this psyop where we think that we have to respond to everything so quickly. I would prefer to live my own life on my own agenda, not my email inbox's agenda. Maybe you guys resonate with this. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I don't know. I remember when I had a job that didn't have an email address, like I didn't have a work email. You could actually go to work and then not be at work. Wow, novel, right? Um, Effective or useful? Here's the other thing. Maybe I'm the only one who obsessed about email, so I'm just gonna let me just go off for a little bit, if you may. If you may, what percentage of emails that you send do people actually even read? I mean, the percentage of emails that I send, I write 100% of them, but if people only read 75% of the emails that I like write, or probably less, let's be honest, means I'm putting 100% effort into something that is less than 100% received. That's not a very good return on effort, right? Like if you and I have a one-on-one discussion, like I can gauge the fact that you're like listening to me or not. Sometimes we have discussions and you're not listening, but I can gauge the fact that you're listening to this or not. I can quantify the number of people that listen to this. Did you know that? I can. So I can actually tell if there's people engaging with this. I can tell if you're sitting across the table from me and you're listening to me. Like I would call that 100% effective communication. No, it's not very scalable. I mean, one-on-one discussion is not very scalable. Maybe a podcast is more scalable. Maybe mass email is more scalable. It's not necessarily that effective. You have to have so many hits, right, for it to be heard so many times. I write a lot of emails to one person, though. That's what it feels like. What percentage of my emails actually get read? I don't know. It's less than 100, so it's not that effective of a communications like strategy. What percentage of those emails that I actually write that get through do people actually take action on? Hey, could you do this thing? I read it. Okay, that's good. Did I actually do it? Maybe not. Maybe not. I think, okay. Well, okay, let me get to this other thought later. You guys have no idea what I was thinking. I'm going to write this down. And then we'll talk about it after this. Because emails, I hate them. Okay. Avoid as many non-essential decisions as possible. That's what I'm thinking about. Non-essential decisions, like avoid as many non-effective decisions as possible. So Warren Buffett just this last week announced that he's going to retire at the end of the year, which like makes sense. He's like 95, 94, 95. It's been a while. Like it's about time. We'll say it. He's been pretty effective though up to this point. Like it's pretty impressive. You go listen to him talk. I'd say he's doing pretty good for a 95-year-old. Okay. He kind of cracks me up because he had this one quip a long time ago. You can Google this, where somebody was talking to him about like why doesn't Berkshire Hathaway pay a dividend to its shareholders? And his bit was basically, well, we don't pay a dividend because we believe that we can do better with that money than our shareholders can if we paid it out to them. And I've always thought that was so funny because he's just kind of stating the obvious. You know, Warren Buffett, arguably the greatest investor of all time. I don't know. Maybe. Very good at compounding money. So why would he pay out a dividend that you have to pay tax on, that you can then make a decision with, that is unlikely to be as economically advantageous as the decision that he might make with that same dollar if he just kept it and you didn't have to pay tax on that income? Seems kind of logical when you think about it, but a lot of times we just make these decisions because I don't know why. They're just things that everybody else does. Let's pay a dividend because we have a lot of shareholders and they want the profits. Well, yeah, but what if I'm better at those profits? They can sell the company if they want. They can sell their shares. Yeah, that is true. Oh, did you think about that? Useful and effective. It would be much more effective if I kept this money and invested it on your behalf than if I paid it out to you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sure. I think the next logical extension of my whole like no email bit is going to be I think I'm going to be able to do this. But I think I'm going to like get rid of my phone. Why do I need a phone? What do I need it for? I don't know. Even if I can't entirely get rid of my phone, I think, and I actually know you can do this, I just go get one of those phones that's just got texting and calling. That's it. No data, you know? People will say, oh, you need a phone to get into this concert or do that. Or people did it before. Have a ticket on your phone, fly somewhere, GPS. People did it before. You just got to engage with life a little bit. Gee whiz. Like, do you actually want to be some mindless, like, fried brain phone addict your entire life and not actually think about what the heck you're doing and ask Siri, like, every time you have a question? Or do you want to actually just, like, live? Like, open a book? Golly. The reality is, how many people actually need to call me in a day? Like, I don't know, not that many. How many people actually need to text me? Probably, like, it's probably way less that are actually essential. I think what I'm gonna get to is I'm gonna have my iPhone and I'll just check it like once a week, and then I'll just get a new phone with a new number. And the reality is, I only need to give that number to people who need it. And the nice thing is, I get to decide who that is. I'm not even some like hot shot, okay? Like, I'm not a big deal, but like, I'll just give it to the people that need it. And then the reality is, everybody else, I'll just respond to when I respond to them in a week, maybe less. I don't know. I just can't. I just don't know what I like need my phone for. Right? Somebody's gonna poke holes in this. Actually, I'm gonna poke holes in it because I'm just gonna do it, and then I'm gonna figure out what I actually need my phone for. And the next question is like, oh, I need my phone to get into this concert. Okay, well, do I really need to go to that concert? Maybe not. Okay, great. Problem solved. You need your phone to have GPS so that you can drive from point A to point B. Oh, maybe I just won't go to new places. Great. Problem solved. You need your phone so that you can have, I don't know, smart lock on your house so you don't have to carry your keys around. Well, I'll just carry my keys around. I don't know. Like, there's just so many comforts that just engage a little bit. Because if I just took my effort and then reinvested it back into the things that my phone is making more like seamless for me, easier for me to do, directions and stuff like that. If I just re-engaged a little bit, that's probably a fraction of the amount of time that my phone takes away from me just from freaking having it on me. Deleting my email reduced my screen time by 20% because I just quit like tick, check, tick, check, tick. Like, I don't have to do that. And then eventually when you stop responding, people just stop hitting you up. Great. Less friction. Oh, was that bad? I'm not supposed to say that. If you email me, I might respond. Okay. I think it's probably enough for the day. Probably enough for today. Get off your phone, everybody. Go enjoy some sunshine, and we'll see you next week. All right. Bye.